Good evening, Wellness Warriors. It's 8 o'clock, so it's Empower Hour. Good evening, good evening. How are you all? Thank you for joining me, Carla Andrews, the Managing Director of Motivated Minds and the conversation opener-upper around mental health and wellbeing. So, we're here Sunday nights, 8 o'clock, week in, week out, to talk about mental health. And we do that throughout the hour by visiting our Moan and Move On section at the very beginning, to our wellness wins, and towards the end, our cards. Good evening, Catherine. Good evening, Tasha. Ladies and gentlemen that are watching live, please pop a hello in the comments so I can see that you're with me. I am getting more and more messages in that people are watching this on catch up. So good evening to you guys as well. Hello, Lauren is with us. I love seeing you all come in. So that's wonderful. Okay, I've got a goodie for you tonight. Our theme tonight, because I had to fill out my census form, is the 10-year rule. So we'll be looking at that a little bit throughout the hour as well. Hi Jennifer, I'm very well, thank you very much. Yourself? How are you all? Let me know. I've had a productive weekend again. It's funny. My boys have moved out, and this weekend one visited me Saturday, one visited me Sunday, and they just helped me with so many jobs. They didn't do that many jobs when they lived at home, so it really is wonderful that they've helped me out this weekend. So I've had my lawn reseeded, I've had trellises put up, I've had plants potted and all sorts. So I'm very grateful to my boys. It makes a difference to me. So yeah, that makes me wonderful. Hello Dion, nice of you to join us. We'll just give it a minute or two to let everyone join. Yeah, I'm excited about tonight's session. So thank you for those that have been texting in earlier, messaging in. I'll be reading out your messages in a bit, so I'm looking forward to that. Hey Katie, how are you? Right, okay, I'm going to crack on. So first of all, moan and move on, people. We've got a week ahead. Is anyone moaning about the fact that the world is opening up, the first step sort of tomorrow? Is anyone nervous about that? Or are you ready to fly out the door tomorrow morning? Let me know your moan and move on. Has someone got on your nerves? Has the supermarket queues just been chaotic? Let me know your moan and move ons. Are children driving you up the wall and you can't wait to get rid of them tomorrow? What are your moan and move ons? I haven't really got any again this week. My life is pretty in order now, quite calm. There's one in the bag for HR this week. Human resources. When you tend to work for big companies, most of them will have a human resources department that you have to go through to book holidays, to book training, and they're meant to look after your mental health and everything. Sometimes things can get a little bit confusing. Sometimes HR can step in when you've been naughty. But yeah, generally they're good people. I've worked in the past with no HR. I didn't understand what HR was when I was younger. And yeah, it wasn't until I started working for a big organisation. I worked for McDonald's, was my big organisation that had a HR department. So yeah. But with HR, there's an awful lot of paperwork. We have a beautiful volunteer who does our finance and HR, and the amount of paperwork, bless her, that she has to do when you start a new person, just to make sure we're all legal. Lauren, moan and move on. People blatantly ignoring the current lockdown rules and acting as if we are 3 to 4 weeks further ahead than we are. Yes, I think the change in the weather has made people feel more confident about sort of going out and mixing with others. I saw on a discussion page of a town discussion page how one family got out of a car, cakes, balloons, presents, and then sort of walked out of that street into another street, into someone's house. So there was clearly a party. So yeah, it's frustrating, but I must admit, I'm looking forward to just hanging out with people. I can't wait for things to start creeping back in. But as you said, we're still sort of 3, 4 weeks away. Won't be long. It won't be long. It will get here soon. So thank you for your moan and move ons, Catherine and Lauren. Anyone else got a moan and move on? Something to dunk into the bucket. I know there's some children that are missing tonight's session because they've been sent to bed ready for school because they're now back on school timetables. So I would imagine in the absence of their presence, they're moaning that they can't join in, because I know that they enjoy their Sunday night Empower Hour. They're very keen each week, aren't they? And yeah, I just can imagine them giving their parents, oh, I want to see Carla on Empower Hour. So, yes. But we look forward to the school holidays and welcoming them back. There's my little baby. Hello, Mr. Ed. How are you? So my son has just joined us. Have you got any moan and move on, Ed? Let me know before we move on. There you go. Everyone's saying hi to Ed. Ed got his own flat. This is sort of one of my wellness wins. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Making me a very proud mum that both my boys are now moved out. And I will say it's been lovely how many people have been supporting him, because it's a brand new 2-bedroom flat. Well, not brand new to him. And he lost everything about a year ago. Even his clothing. So I'm really proud that he's managed to build himself back up, get a fantastic new job, get this 2-bedroom place, and yeah, I'm good, thanks. And yes, bills, tax, and not enough money. You'll get there, Ed. It just takes time. I suppose that's a frustrating thing with life, is that we can't have what we want when we want it. But believe me, as time goes on and you get something new each month, you really start to treasure it and look after it, and yeah, you'll get there. Everyone that has joined us on this chat, Ed, I'm sure has gone through those stages in life. It's one of those that's a given. Unless you've got millionaire parents that want to share everything with you. But you haven't, darling. You've got me as a mum, and yeah. So you'll be fine, absolutely fine. But I appreciate your moan and move on. And as I said to you the other day, in 20 years' time, you'll start to have a little bit of money to yourself again. If you play everything right, that is, of course. Okay, so before we go into our wellness wins, but you guys can be thinking of them right now, I want to talk to you about the census. And tonight's theme was triggered because of that, because just before I sat on Empower Hour, I was like, right, I'm going to do my census and get it done and dusted. So that each week I like to have a theme for Empower Hour. So that triggered 10 years. my 10 years. Where were you 10 years ago, mentally? And where are you now? And where would you like to be 10 years in the future? So they're my questions to you. You haven't got to write it in the chat box, but I do want you to reflect where you were 10 years ago, what was going on in your life, rate your sort of happiness level, and then where you are now, and analyse that. And then 10 years ahead, where would you like to be? What would you have liked to have achieved in the next 10 years? And whilst you're bearing all that in mind, I want you to bear in mind the 10-year rule, a psychological theory by John Hayes, who developed it in 1989, and he applied it to science, art, literature, music, and basically he said that to get to the point of expertise, to the genius, beyond expertise but genius sort of level, that we should be that we practice something sort of for 10 years and we're passionate about it. And he applied that rule to Einstein, that he was studying for sort of 10 years before he released his work. Art, Picasso, one of Picasso's paintings, his most famous paintings, was developed at his sort of 10-year peak. And literature has been the same. There are numerous novelists that produce lots of work in the run up to their 10-year, where they've then peaked, and that peak's carried on, but like that pinnacle sort of moment. Catherine says, wife says she was heavily pregnant 10 years ago, and 10 years time I want to be thinking about retiring in a few years. There you go. So that's good. 10 years back, 10 years forward. So think about 10-year rule. Sometimes in science we talk about muscle memory and stuff like that. So like a lot of athletes, they practice 10,000 hours. But to get to excellence, John Hayes always felt that it was genius level was over for 10 years. So I just thought it was quite an interesting way to look at things. So I mean, he was saying about Fleming as well. So Fleming apparently discovered penicillin after he'd been working in a bacteriology department of a hospital for even like 2 decades, when he discovered penicillin in 1928. And then Alec Jeffreys' discovery of genetic fingerprinting in 1984 was similar. He had left an experiment, returning over the weekend. He returned to his laboratory to find a particular array of blobs and lines on his development film. And his first reaction was, God, what a mess. But when he started to dig a bit longer, the penny dropped. But that was after him putting lots and lots of time into his field of study, and at least sort of 10 years worth. So I liked that. I think the 10-year rule. I've been doing psychology now for 10 years, so I'm not quite up to genius level because it keeps growing. But hey ho. Shakespeare stole an entire theatre before he becomes something. Lauren says 10 years ago I had a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I also yet had any problem, and I'd also not yet had any problems with my mental health. So when you look at that scenario, Lauren, where you hadn't had any problems with your mental health, to where you're sitting in a current position where you've had problems with your mental health, it's part of your development. So, okay, you've had problems arise over the 10 years, and where you're going to be in 10 years time is a lot stronger, and hopefully of understanding more about your own mental health, and what works for you in supporting your mental health and what doesn't. And I think that's really important. So I know 10 years ago I was I'd just come out of uni. I'd not long been out of uni, and I wasn't certainly as confident as I am now. Um, and I had overcome, I suppose by then I'd overcome a good sort of 50% of my mental ill health. But I'm 10 years on from that. I'm stronger, and in another 10 years, I aim to be stronger, more so. So, what I'd like to achieve in the next 10 years, you guys all know it's happy hubs on every high street in the country. So, that's what I want. So, but on a personal level, I just want to keep building. I really want to keep building it, and that of my children and my grandchildren, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on. So it's interesting when you do a census and it asks you, like this census asked me my job, it asked me my marital status, it asked me my education level, and just how that's changed over the last sort of 20 years. So what I would say to any younger people that are watching this now, doing their first census, is I wonder where you'll be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and I hope you manage to build all the time. Now, when we build, it isn't about always going up. Remember that. Certainly with our mental health. Our mental health building also means falling back a few sometimes and then rebuilding. You're constantly building. You'll never build straight up and it'll be perfect. Yeah, it doesn't go in a consistent line upwards. It goes up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, down a bit. But that's how we develop. That's how we grow. Okay. Now, every autumn a tree will shed its leaves, but every spring comes and more flowers will bloom, or a fruit tree will grow more fruit. So just always see life as something that's continually evolving if you invest in you in it. Because if you don't invest in you, your mental ill health can creep up, your physical health can decrease if you're not investing in you. And at the end of the day, as we've said week in, week out, you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's not selfish to invest in you, it is essential. So I will breathe. Let me know your wellness wins, guys. What have we got for wellness wins? What 3 things have helped you grow, or you're thankful for, or that have just warmed your soul through? So what things have you recognised over the last week has been your wellness wins? Now, as I've said, my boys, Eddie moving out, and both of them this weekend helping me out, so that's absolutely fabulous. And then my third wellness win would always be the love that I get from my friends. Absolutely. Just inpouring of love from people that care for me. So I like that. Catherine's up first with hers. So I've got great substitution of of chocolate on Tesco's delivery. Now, Catherine messaged me just before Empower Hour to tell me that she had ordered 2 Cadbury's cream eggs and actually got 10 for the same price. A mixture of the caramel eggs and Cadbury's cream eggs for the bargain price of 66p. Now that just makes me wish that I'd ordered 10 boxes. Would have been nice. Number 2, helped a friend out. Wonderful. Always great to be a good friend. And Sunday night mindfulness with donuts. I like your Sunday night mindfulness sessions. Very good, Keen family. Well done. Love it. Tasha survived another week. Whoop whoop. Well done. Having some amazing friends and family around me who helped this week. That's nice, isn't it? Especially when we are struggling. Like, it's all brilliant when people help us when we're doing really well. But for those that have friends that come round when we're struggling, that's just when we know that it's going to be all right. Yeah, there have been times where we've been on our own and we're not sure how things are going to work out. We can't see the answers. We can't see the light through the trees, but we get through it. But when we sometimes have someone with like a spotlight, like a torch, or someone just to even hug us and not even say any words, or just people. I remember I had a friend that would come round and just help with the washing up, and that would just be such a relief. So it's amazing the power of friends. And what I will say is that when I work with families of people that are struggling, they're always like, well, what do I say? What do I do? Like, I don't want to make things worse. But being a good friend is you haven't got to have a magic sentence. You haven't got to have um, you haven't got to know all the answers. Sometimes, as I said, it's as simple as going round and doing the washing up for someone, or going for a walk with them, or I remember one of my best friends, she went through a terrible time and I didn't know what to say, and I just went round there and I said to her, I don't know what to say. She said, don't say anything, I just want the quiet, but I want you here sat with me. So I think that's really important. So having great friends and family who help us is brilliant. Number 3 for Tasha is indoor picnic with with films and the kids. That's amazing. I love indoor picnics. And remember, when we're doing stuff with our kids, it's not about, don't get me wrong, it's great to have days out and, I don't know, adventures. Um, but indoor picnics can be just as important when they're 40 years old and building a den with their grandchildren or even still their children. Like, don't ever underestimate the small things that can be done with kids that create these happy memories. I've always said memories is more powerful than money. So I love that you've done an indoor picnic, films with kids. Um, my youngest was round today, and he is straight on the sofa after he'd done some jobs for me, and he's like, "Can we watch a film, Mum?" And it's just precious time. And I know my Eddie as well. He's like, "Oh, can I have a back tickle and can I watch a film?" Sorry, Ed, that I've just outed you with that, but like, it's just special. And yeah, very, very good, Tasha. I love your wellness wins. Lauren Dads says, on the subject of constantly building, there is an army advert on the radio at the moment that I really like the sentiment of. It's the idea that it's okay to not achieve your goals or be perfect instantly. Absolutely. One of the scenarios is a soldier running and missing her target by 45 seconds. But she says she doesn't mind that because last time it was 2 minutes. So she knows it will be achieved next time. Just really like the message in it. Absolutely. Perfection is first of all, no one ever has to reach perfection. Look at what your idea of perfection is. If it's baking a cake that doesn't sink, then maybe that's achievable. If it's building a 40-tier decorated wedding cake on your first attempt, remember the 10-year rule. If you practice that every day for 10 years, you might get there. But it's always a work in progress. And I don't know, we have something in our culture, and maybe other cultures as well, where failure is a bad thing, but actually every time we fail at something, it's another opportunity to learn. Learn it doesn't work that way, or learning that actually I might have done this bit early, or I've done that a bit late, or it's just learning and not beating ourselves up and not sending ourselves into that negative spiral of, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm useless. You know that language, come on. So yeah, just bear in mind that everything takes time. All good things comes to those who persist. um Christine says, nice email from parent. Ah, that's lovely. COVID jab. Oh, well done. Number 3, gluten-free brownies to recover from COVID jab. Excellent. I hope that in there as well, Christine, the family are bringing you tea and looking after you very well, because just watch out for those COVID jabs for the couple of days. You might feel a bit rough, is what I'm hearing for some people. Some of them have had no side effects, other people have felt a bit rough, but I'm sure you've got your family around that will be supporting you and looking after you. So Lauren says, wellness wins. Number 1, good progress with son's bedroom. Painting is finished. Well done. Number 2, great cup of kindness on Wednesday. Fabulous. Cup of Kindness, guys, is our session on a Wednesday, aimed at helping you understand your emotions, and that's with our lovely Jo. I'll tell you how to sign up for that a bit later. And a very old friend who I grew up with, but haven't seen in years and years, got in touch to say hi and reach out. I was really touched. Isn't that lovely when we get a blast from the past and it's a positive one? I love that. That's great. Always good to reconnect with people. And can I have one more? Absolutely you can. If we go over 3, I'm chuffed. So can I have one more? Lovely walk with Jack in Central Park, Chelmsford today. That's brilliant. I like that. Very nice. Jennifer says, a friend cooked and brought round a meal for us as my mum has broken her ankle. Oh, Jennifer, what a great friend that you've got there. And your mum's broken her ankle. I hope she's okay and she'll be on the mend rapidly. That would be nice to hear, is that she gets better nice and quick. So fabulous wellness wins there, guys. Thank you very, very much for sharing. And for those of you that are watching this a bit later, please just write them down. Still do it. Still go through in your head what has highlighted you in the last week. Is it something you've done yourself? Is it something that someone has done for you? Is it an opportunity that you took, or maybe something you was nervous about but you did it anyway? So whatever your wellness win is, please do write it down, and if you want to, just send it in on the messenger to Motivate Minds and we'll give you some love. So I love doing the wellness wins every week, and one of my wellness wins is always listening to yours. I love it. So let's talk. Let's talk our 10 years. So we've said about what you was doing 10 years ago and what you'd like to be achieving in 10 years time. And we've talked about the science of the 10-year rule. So let's look at let's look again at in 10 years time. Maybe write a letter to yourself for in 10 years time. You can read it and think, oh my god, that's where I was at that point. I love doing this exercise. I really wish though, because I've moved quite a few times, and I didn't keep all my letters to myself and the books where I wrote what was going on in my life, and especially those darker times, when I used writing as a way to help me cope with what was going on. It was a great outlet for me. I didn't really have people that I wanted to bother with my problems, so I just wrote and wrote and wrote. And I know that I found them after like a year or so, and I looked back and I was like, wow, this hasn't changed or that has, and it was very reflective. But for some reason I lost them, whether it's when I moved that I threw them out. So I would recommend that you write a letter to yourself and you put it somewhere safe that in 10 years time that you can access it, and just see how much your life has moved on, where you are mentally as well. I think it's a very powerful task, so I'd love it if you guys could do that, but as I said, put it somewhere safe. Okay, so cards. Cards. We're flying through tonight. Every week I get the cards out. We've got the empowering questions. We've got the stress less. It's because my screen is so bright. Stress less. We've got the original affirmators. We've got the love affirmators, and we've got cards against anxiety. So let me know what ones you want and I'll read them out. Do like our cards. So let me tell you what's going to be going on with the Happy Hub. Now we've had the news from Boris Johnson. So basically we're opening up the Happy Hub from the 12th of April. So we'll have the cafe open, we'll have the shop open, we'll be running half of our sessions back face to face, half will stay online for a while, and we will be training up the new staff and volunteers. So we're really excited to get back up and running. Catherine says, not seen the love affirmations before. Oh, we've had them for a while. I've read out a few last week and in previous weeks. So maybe you just didn't hear me say the love ones. So I like these. Don't forget, we sell them in the shop, because I know Jerry watches on Catch Up. Hey, I tell you what, our online shop has been going crazy this week. So thank you very much to all of you who follow on our pages, or in our groups, who have been liking our posts, because basically it's helped promote our shop, as well, which has led to sales. And remember, as a non-profit organisation, every sale counts, because the profits we make go straight back into supporting mental health. So it's a fantastic way for us to generate money, and it makes us less reliant on government handouts. Anyone for a card? Anyone for a card? Catherine, would you like a love one, as you've never noticed them before? We're also looking at bringing stubbers back, which we usually do in August, but we're going to try and get one in May as well, for anyone that would like to do our personal challenge, or your children would, because it's a family friendly day. So we're looking at doing that in May. We've got a Couch to 5K going to go on as well. We think that's probably June time. We'll probably do something with cycling as well. We've got our walking marathon in October, so we're starting to build a whole programme of activity from May till October, including our Wickford Youth Club, which will come back. So I am so excited, and the next couple of months will be very full on. Right, okay, so from the love affirmators, one for Catherine Keane. It is about self-love as well. So Catherine, the first card I've pulled out is thoughtfulness. It's time to put your money where your mouth is and have fun showing your love. Think of all the little things you can do to show a person you love them. Then stop thinking of those things and actually do them. It is time to hide a note in someone's pocket. Make them a snack, order them a book. Anything thoughtful can be an act of love. Even taking the trash out to the dumpster. I think these are American, don't you? Unless you're doing that anyway. Who would have thought that being so full of thoughts could be considered thoughtful? So, there you go, Catherine. You've got your work cut out there now. So, thoughtfulness. And all of us should do this. And we should do this for ourselves and for those that we love. Okay, so it's those acts of thoughtfulness. Look after yourself. That's an act of thoughtfulness. Look after the people you love, making that cup of tea, or I don't know, getting their favourite warm socks. You can do it for your kids. Just a message in their lunchbox. I used to do that to my boys when they were at school. I used to put messages in their lunchboxes. And especially for anyone that's got kids going back to school tomorrow for the first time in a while, and they're a little bit nervous, maybe a smiling bit of kitchen roll will go down a treat. Hi Wendy, Wendy's just joined us. So we're just doing the card. So if anyone would like a card, please tell me which pack and I will read them out. So we was just reading the thoughtfulness card from our love affirmations. I will pop them away for the moment. How are you, Wendy? How are the kids? I was just saying we're going to be bringing back the Friday Night Youth Club in May. Let me have a look at the dates and I can tell you now. So May the 7th will be our first week. We're going to have it open from the 7th to the 28th for our old customers at the youth club, and give them sort of 4 weeks to break themselves in if they still want to come back. And then we're going to open it up to a new lot of kids from June onwards. It just gives us a chance to catch up with those that we've missed so much over the last year. So if you can help us get the word out, that would be fabulous. So, how are we feeling about the week ahead, guys? An anxiety one, okay. Gonna find a stress less one for you, Jenny. Okay. How are we feeling about the week ahead, knowing that the world is taking the country is taking its first step? Okay, so here's an anxiety stress less card. Boost up your reflection. Think of one thing where you need boosting up or compliments. Make yourself a rooting sentence. Whenever you are alone and there is a mirror available, look your reflection deep in the eye and repeat that sentence. It might seem unreal or hard to believe at first, but keep on repeating it. So make your own affirmation, choose something that you don't feel comfortable with at the moment. So it might be like, I'm beautiful as I am, or I'm more intelligent than I know, or I am worthy of love, whatever it is for you. And keep saying this affirmation in the mirror. Now, I've got a dear friend who does it. He does it every morning, and I'd like to think that it's helped him over the years that he's been doing it. And you can change your sentence. You could choose one each day, and you could actually use things like the affirmation cards if you run out of ones. But I do like writing your own. And then stick with it until you believe it, basically, and it will come. It really will come. So, an affirmation. Um, Now, when you speak to yourself more positively and smile, you'll feel better, and part of you will start believing the words and reacting to the smile. Oftentimes, the way you speak to others will change too. Good gives birth to more good and reduces the effects of stress. It also rewires your brain. Okay, that is important. It also helps rewire your brain. Okay, I do like those stress less cards. My box is so battered now though. Who gets up in the morning and gives themselves enough time to focus on you? Like before kids start going, or your job starts calling, who gets up and has just time for you, whether that's breakfast and a sit down and a drink, time to do an affirmation, time to look after yourself. A lot of people make the time for hair, makeup, but they don't really make the time for their mental health. So please, please bear in mind that just as much as our physical appearance and our teeth and getting washed is highly essential, so is your mental health and looking after that. So pausing and just taking 5 minutes out to look after you is essential. I must admit, I swing from, I can get up and do that and I have the most productive days, and I can also have days where I'm like, oh my god, I was meant to be up an hour ago and I was meant to be in a meeting in like 2 minutes and da-da-da-da. So I haven't completely hit that nail on the head yet. I'm still swinging between my most productive self and my running around chasing my towel self. There's a brilliant book called The 5 Second Rule, and the lady, I'm sure it's a female author, she talks about literally the minute your alarm goes off, you've got 5 seconds to put your feet on the floor and get up. If you do that, you're your most productive self. And if you take that rule across your life of like, before you start thinking over it, that you just do it, just 5 seconds, just do it before the fear sets in. And if you look at anyone that's ever jumped out of an aeroplane or something for the first time, they just like, a lot of them go, all right, I've got to do it, and just clear their brain for those seconds and just do it. I was watching an interesting video the other day on a 30-foot dive board in a swimming pool it's a foreign country, whether it's Germany or somewhere like that. And people were allowed to go up in twos and see if they could do it. This clip was on Facebook, so it was very insightful to watch. And I appreciate, from a filmer's point of view, they only show us the clips that they want to. So, like, you might not get all of the detail, but for those that did jump off of the high board, literally just went up and went, no, I've got to do it, and just did it. Anyone that paused was the ones that was looking over, then walking backwards, and then looking over and then going, no, I can't do it, and then going, oh, well, maybe I can, and then no, I can't, and some people froze, and it was really interesting. I'd like to do that experiment and film everyone so you can see what sort of real in terms of, like, out of 10 people, how many sort of jumped straight, how many jumped into the water, and what was their reaction times. Did they do it straight away? Did they dither over it for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes? Maybe we should do a psychological experiment. Or go down to the swimming pool at the Olympic site, and yeah, maybe we should recreate that. I'm up for it. Not that I would jump, I'd be filming, obviously, psychological purposes. Good evening, Tracy. Tracy's with us. Tracy has offered to teach us. She's a trained barista. So I want to buy a coffee machine for the Happy Hub so we can have proper coffee. And I haven't got a clue. I don't drink coffee. So Tracy is going to help teach us, which is really rather wonderful of her. So if anyone has got coffee machines or used a particular brand or certain coffee bean, it does have to be like, I don't mind spending out the money on the coffee machine, but I need to also make a profit so we can keep running our mental health services. So yeah, I won't be buying it from Waitrose each week, the coffee, but we need to find something that you all enjoy. So I'm open to ideas. Or if you work for a big organisation, maybe borrow their one from their canteen. You can always ask, can't you? So really exciting stuff. And as I said, the community cafe will be open from the 12th of April. So if you are in and around the Basildon area that you might want to support us, come down, and there'll certainly be cake. But come down for a cup of tea or coffee, cold drinks, and enjoy. So, any more cards? Does anyone want any cards before I pack them away? Ah, Tracy, I've got a macro card as well, thank you. So yeah, I love a bit of macros and Costco's. So, yes. I'm really looking forward to you showing us how to make coffee. There's quite a few of us that are keen to learn. So, right, I've popped the cards away, guys. Don't forget, the week ahead, as always, we're doing our Walk for Wellness. So to join in them, all the details are on our Motivated Minds page under events. Cup of Kindness, as I mentioned earlier, is with the lovely Jo. To take part in that via our Google Meet, just email Jo at motivated-minds.co.uk, and the hyphen is the little line in the middle, the dash. So yeah, that's Jo at motivated-minds.co.uk. What else have we got going on? We still have our counselling. We're getting a bit of a waiting list for that, so we're looking for more qualified counsellors. Yeah, to help volunteer. So that's good. We've still got coaching going on with myself, mentoring. We're going back into schools to do work with schools. So we've got so much going on, and our food bank. The team are amazing that are working on the food bank at the moment. We've got the lovely Julian, Josh, Cassie and Megan all working on the food bank, and they are doing an amazing job. 146 families they supported last month with food packages, so really chuffed with that. We are going to be having our trolley back in the Happy Hub, so if you want to make a donation or you know people that do, or when you go back to work, if your office is doing collections and stuff like that, please do think about us. It'd be rather great, so we can pass it straight on to the community. What else is new? Holiday program next month. No, the end of this month for Easter, supporting families during the Easter 2-week holiday. So we're going to have all different dinner evenings on at the hub. So you can come down with your kids and take part in arts and crafts, games, etc. And have a nice hot meal. So if you know any families that are struggling, then please do send them our way. If you're further afield, if you're outside the Essex area, do contact your local council, because they should have a list of providers who can help you, because the Holiday Hunger Programme is a UK-wide, certainly England-wide programme of funding. So, it is 8:50. What have we got planned for the week ahead, guys? And how are you feeling about it? And if you've got any questions around mental health and well-being, please do pop them in the comments, and I will do my very best to answer them. How are we feeling about getting up in the morning for school runs? Would you prefer school runs or homeschooling? I think if I'd been in charge of homeschooling my kids, we would have been doing science experiments galore. Okay. Right, well, it's a quiet one tonight. You lot are very quiet. So I'm going to get off, and I'll be around for the next 20 minutes or so to answer any of your questions. So if you've got any, just fling them through to the Motivated Minds page, and I'll do my best to answer them tonight. And if not, I'll be back on Motivated Minds tomorrow. And again, if you're watching this on catch up, please do put through your messages and we will pick them up. So you'd prefer the homeschooling, Catherine, to the school run, especially during the winter. Right, okay, my lovelies. Mine are self-sufficient and make my lunch. See, that's good. That's good. I think if you had 4 and 5-year-olds, you'd feel slightly different. They'd be running around creating havoc. Okay, it's great seeing you all. I know that I'll be speaking to some of you in the week. Maybe if anyone's interested in doing a walk next weekend with me, if you're local, then please do message me, and we'll get that booked in. Take care, look after yourselves, look after your mental health, and be bold for the next week. See you later. Bye.